Hello, this is about the fifth time I've made this video, but I'm going to do it again. And Jeff Bezos is for you, Donald Trump is for you, Bill Gates is for you, and Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, guys, we're ready for the big one. The last time I represent God, I'm called God's messenger. God made me his messenger on June the 9th, 2019. I'm autistic, and God, I often since I was 3 years old, have arguments with God. And during this particular time, I had an argument with God when I was 3 years old, and I said, "Where are you at? How come you let that happen? Why didn't you kill the devil?" Priest, my mother, nobody can answer those kind of questions. Autistic kids do that. Sometimes they can ask adult questions that nobody can answer. You know, they can ask you at 3 years old how do babies come from? You can't pull one over on autistic kids. And they usually state to themselves, we don't get along with society at all. We don't get along with people very much. And we're always listening to God. Who do you think we're listening to, and who do you think we're talking to and smiling with? Because God's playing with us. He takes time with us all our lives. He's our best friend. He's the 6 foot tall rabbit behind us, but he's not really. We don't, the world looks at it that way. The thing about it is, guys, you guys are the richest guys in the world. Jeff Bezos, you're listed as the richest man in the world. Satoshi, you're right next to him. You're neck and neck. Bill Gates, you're way up there too. Donald Trump, not so much, but Donald Trump, you have. Let's round off your money down to $20 billion. You're probably not worth $20 billion, but you still will be, as far as God's concerned, at least $20 billion. All of you will be up. You're not going to be downsized. Okay, you're not going to be downsized. But this is a warning to you. Just like God solved the problem at the Tower of Babel and changed the languages, there was no fighting, there was no argument. He just did something that was completely nobody was expecting it. Boom. He had the answer to everything. Now, I'm gonna raise the other iPhone, but understand this. This is not an iPhone, this is an Android. But my other phone is Android. 5,000 years God took the waiting for this to come about. China didn't know what they were doing and Apple didn't know what they were doing. When they created the BlackBerry, they just thought they were creating a good thing, and they put a keyboard onto a phone, and next thing you know, everybody was texting. Then it went from the texting to Apple. You invented the on-screen keyboard. Wow, that just put BlackBerry out of commission. Okay, now you could hide. You've gotten so good. I mean, your keyboard can go on any corner of your phone, out of your way. Even have an exterior keyboard, and you can also hide it. Incredible. Android, you stepped on Apple's toes, and you tried to put a onboard screen and call it yours by trying to say, no. They have the patent. They had the idea to put it on screen first. So you got yourselves in a world of trouble with Android. You two will always have problems together. Android would never catch up to iPhone because of that. You started out the wrong way. You didn't try to negotiate with Apple starting that way. You tried to compete with Apple when Apple had patents. Wrong idea. Now you're not compatible. You two are not compatible. Making a big problem for us. Anyway, besides that, the phone. This phone will be issued by banks soon, very soon, after you make your investments. What I'm going to ask you guys to do, if you hear background noise, I'm in Bujumbura, Africa. I came here God sent me here to Africa, Bujumbura specifically. I sold my house to get here. I give my car back. I came here with nothing and lost everything, and even my credit rating's gone down to zilch. Okay? I risk everything to come to Africa because God told me to start here. Supposedly this was the poorest country in the world, but I found out there's one more poor. That's Sierra Leone. I don't know. It's somewhere in Africa. I don't know where it's at. I think it's in Western Africa. I'm on the eastern side of Africa. I'm in Bujumbura, in Burundi. Like I said, I'm in a facility, very nice facility, run by the Catholic Church and missionaries. A rehabilitation for autistic children, kids with cystic fibrosis, kids with cerebral palsy, kids with autism, all kinds of disabilities. They're in wheelchairs, many are in wheelchairs, physical therapy, okay? But they're all beautiful kids. These kids in this facility are much like the unborn. We never have considered them. We don't look at them. We don't even consider them part of society. We don't consider them part of them. But God doesn't look at the unborn like that. God looks at them like these are His real children. The children with potential. When everybody else has expressed that they had potential, but they lost it their way somehow. They just lose it. They go on their own and they become corrupted. And they corrupt themselves. Where the children stay pure at heart, pure at mind. They never done nothing wrong. These kids are here and they've done nothing wrong. Neither have the unborn. Yet when we kill one person, we kill all these unborn, the potentials of God. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the same thing with these children here. Each and every one of these children here have unborn within themselves. And we're going to write them off? We can't write them off. Now let's take that as an example with you guys, with your wealth. There's money you guys can't touch because it's being held for security by the companies that you own, by the whatever sources you own. Anything you own, you have to keep it, just like the Fort Knox. It's not being used. It's only being held as because you have to hold the security of what that thing. You have to keep that worth in a bank. And it's probably not hard collecting very much interest. You're not getting no 10% for sure. You're getting % on that money that's sitting there because you got so much money. Jeff Bezos, it's incredible how much money you have and power you have. But you met your match, and that's God. Because the power of God has to reach 9 billion people. 9 billion. Amazon wishes it can get to 9 billion people, and it could potentially get to 9 billion people with God's help. Okay? You listening now? You understand a little bit more? With God's help, all of you will become richer. Because I have a commodity that everybody in this world has to have, including yourselves. Now you say you don't believe in God? Don't buy into it. But you will. But you know what? If you state that word and you take that position, no matter what you do, I will deny you access to that, and I'll crush you. I will crush you, because I'll point you out and say, he doesn't believe in you, he doesn't believe in no other thing, and I will crush you. Amazon, I can crush you if everybody that buys into my commodity in this world, and my commodity is God. My commodity is God. God lives inside you. It's inside your head. God came into you the day that he accepted your father. When he chose your father, he immediately, your father made the donation, right? And if God accepted your father in, he immediately, God put in his own donation and gave life to your mother's embryo with your mother and father in it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can deny that. You're living, aren't you? How are you living? You plugged in by electricity? You run by radiation, noble gas? What's making you tick? Well, how are you thinking then? Because electricity certainly doesn't think of anything. Doesn't care, doesn't have any knowledge of anything. It just randomly will electrocute you. You have to direct it in its path. The same with radiation, the same with noble gases. You're not living by any of those. You're living by God. And if you can't accept that, you're ignorant. Einstein wasn't that smart because he never recognized where God is. Burundi was not smart at all when he told all of India, 1.4 billion people, that he's never seen God or found God, but he'd always be searching for God. Great message to tell 1.4 people in India that they don't have hope of finding a God, when God's right there inside him and everybody. That's a stupid man. Gandhi was a stupid man. Now George Washington knew God. He was autistic and he knew God. So was Thomas Jefferson. So were all the great people in thing. Henry Ford and Edsel, Thomas Edison, and Nikola Tesla, AC and DC. We wouldn't have any of that stuff if it wasn't for autistic people. But the autistic people that know God, I don't know why it's so hard to understand where God is and where he lives. But you guys are going to understand it. You guys are going to learn to understand it because God's making you an offer right now. You don't believe in God? Like I said, I'll point it out to the world. By your actions, you'll find out whether we believe in God or not. I'm telling each one of you. There's a country called Sierra Leone. It's Leone, the currency they have, the Leone, takes 99,000 Leone to make $1. I thought I was in the poorest country in the world when God sent me to Bujumbura, but I found out about Sierra Leone. And when I found out about Sierra Leone, I said, holy cow, they're a whole lot poorer than Burundi. And Burundi is listed as being the poorest country in the world. So, here's the deal. I want each of you, Satoshi, you started the Bitcoin with 0.009, less than 0.1% of 1 cent as an experiment, and it worked because it's worth over $60,000 today. Your high was $68,000. Okay? You want it to stay there? You want it to stay up? You'll listen to me. Jeff Bezos, you'll listen to me too. Right now the dollar is like worth 99,000 Sierra Leone. It's also worth 0.0035 or 3,500 Burundian francs. Now what God's going to do, he's going to do this because Burundi's where I started and it's where I grew to love the people and it's where God sent me. And I'm here right now at this facility. It's kind of like a St. Jude's facility inside Bujumbura. Beautiful place to be with the nuns here and everything running. The kids come here in the morning and they leave in the afternoon by buses. They all wear uniforms. They're beautiful kids. Okay, but getting off of here. When I tell you the Burundian franc will be worth 50,000 American dollars, I could put it on the market simply. I put it on the African market and on the New York Stock Exchange or in all the African securities exchanges, stock exchanges, 29 of them. And I could ask $1, and every Burundian would have $1. They would be $3,500 to the Burundian francs. And it wouldn't make no difference. But if I asked $3,500 to equal a God's coin, because I'm going to tell the people to come get God's coins, and they earn God's coins. They have to open an account to get God's coins. The God's coin is what I'm selling. The God's coin is only a promissory note. I'm the sole proprietor of God's living ministry. And I talk for God as God's messenger. My account is not a business account. It's a private account. I'm a sole proprietor and have the right. It was with the Bank of America in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I have a nonprofit. I'm registered as a nonprofit in the state of South Carolina. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, despite that, my own personal name is on that account. Joseph Andrew Jensen Sr. I'm a reverend. It will be the hub of all the money that's ever goes through us. Through all the money in the world will end up going through this one bank. Right now, I'm at a place right now where there's only maybe 9 banks, different banks in Bujumbura. 9 different banks, and they're not very, they're not easy to access. They're not easy to get to. You got to go through a lot of trouble to get to these banks. Everybody in this country has a very hard time getting anywhere. Okay, but the idea is, I want each one of you to take $4 billion. $4 billion. Now I say $4 billion because I'm not going to make it $40 billion because Donald Trump, you're not even worth half that. Okay, Jeff Bezos, $40 billion is nothing to you. Okay, it is. This is a good share of your money. But it's still nowhere close to what you have. I don't know about you, Bill Gates and Satoshi. 40 billion is nothing to you either. But I'm asking for 4 billion as an experiment. Go buy Sierra Leone's. Go buy Sierra Leone's with $4 billion of your money, just like you was buying gold. Go buy. Each one of you go buy $4 billion of Sierra Leone's and Burundian francs. I want you to buy both if you can, but buy Sierra Leone's and then buy 4 billion in Burundian francs, and I will match that. I will match that with a God's coin. Okay? Times 99,000, times 50,000 so take whatever you give, that 4 billion times 50,000. And that's how many God's coin I'm going to issue you. I don't know what that comes to, but it's probably close to $1 trillion, or it's not over. You'll be worth that many $1 trillion in God's coins. If it comes to trillions. I can't multiply that right now. But we'll take 4 billion that you donate, multiply it times 50,000. That's what a God's coin's will be worth to American dollar. And that's how many God's coin I'm going to give you. Now, when you go to Burundi, it's the same deal. You change your 4 billion to the Burundian franc. Multiply that times 50,000. And that's how many Burundian franc you'll have. Now, I said that wrong. I said that absolutely wrong. When Sierra Leone, multiply that $50,000 times the Sierra Leone. I'm at for 4 billion times the 50,000. Don't multiply it times 50,000. Multiply it by 100,000. Remember, I said there's $100,000. $100,000 to buy one Sierra Leone. So what I'm gonna have you do in Sierra Leone is I'm gonna give you that $4 billion times $100,000 in Leones. You haven't lost nothing. Your money's still there. Take it out the next day. I don't want nothing attached to that money. Make it cash money. Your billion's got to be cash money. Okay? When you make that cash money out and you buy that, you're going to have, like I said, 100,000 times 4 billion. I don't know what it comes out to, like a billion. I've already said that. The same thing goes when you give the 4 billion to Burundian francs. Multiply it times $50,000. Okay? And Burundian francs. Immediately, I will tell everybody in Burundi and in Sierra Leone, get yourselves to the bank and get your share. I know how many people are in Burundi, but I don't know how many people are in Sierra Leone. But I do know in Burundi there's supposed to be 15 million people. And if that's 15 million, I will divide 15 million into the number of God's coins I just gave you immediately. And I will issue that into every account. Divide it into every account. And I will only take one share myself. The same as them, but I'll be rich. They will be millionaires and I'll be millionaires. Why? Because you just it's possible to be billionaires. Because you just took $14 billion, multiplied that. Well, basically, you just took $14 billion and divided by 15 million. That's how much everybody will get at one time. That's the money that you'll be getting right at once. Those people, they'll be able to go find their own property, live wherever they want to live. They won't be living together. They don't have to live in cities. They don't have to live in houses next to each other. They don't have to have. Just go find a place and build your business where you live, so you don't have to travel. So nobody has to build a road to your house. You don't have to have a road to your house. Everybody separates. Then go to the family units. Because I'm telling families to go open God's coins together as families. And the families will go together from the newborn to the oldest person in the household. And then when they get there, the iPhone, not like this Android, right? The bank will hand them a brand new Apple 15 or an Apple 15 Pro. And they'll take their picture and put it on the face. And they'll take their voice recognition, the face recognition. And they'll have the fingerprint identification. And they have their hand grip identification. And inside it, they have their name and birth date. Nobody can copy all those things. Immediately, that's the most secure device. More secure than any device in this world. Nobody can prove all these things at one same time. If they want to have their children's fingerprints taken, or their footprint for a newborn, that's fine. The bank will do that too. The exact number of Burundians will be waiting in the bank for them. When they go there as a family, they will get whatever that number is, comes out to be, divided by each family member equally. The parents, the head of households will get the difference in their accounts, but it won't be really offset, a big offset. It'll be really, it's going to go to every account as equal as it can get. Now, God's coin has a very big disadvantage to you in the sense that it's got a 20-year shelf life. 20 years is in existence. From the day you get that $4 billion, you got 20 years to use it or lose it. The same as the Burundians that go get it. They have to, or the people in Sierra Leone, they have 20 years to use it or lose it. It means they have to spend it, invest it, party with it, do whatever you want to do with it, buy cars with it, have fun with it. Just always just use it and invest and build your own new home and build your business. Instead of working at McDonald's, buy a McDonald's and make it at your house. Right? A restaurant. You're not going to you don't need money. So if you're a chef and want a restaurant, it's because you want to show off your talents. You're not doing it for the meal and money. You're to show off you're doing it to show off the money, because everybody having money, they're spending their money to get a meal. They wouldn't care how much the meal cost. They'll pay anything to get rid of the money. It's kind of, I don't know. There was a Richard Pryor movie like that. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying? Where the guy had so much money he had to spend it. Okay, what I'm trying to say is you guys will make this possible. If you don't make it possible, I'll point the finger at you. Jeff Bezos, you can't afford that. Because I'll turn Amazon into God's business. I'll take it over. I can take over Amazon. Why? Because you haven't reached 9 billion customers, and I will reach 9 billion customers. The fact of the matter is, once God's coin gets started, it's going to be like the synapses firing in the brain, going that fast. Because nobody's going to deny coming to get it. And even if the atheist that says, I don't believe in God and don't want no, then don't take it. Why, the whole world's getting money by God. Every time somebody goes to open an account, they've used the hands and feet and mouth of God. They gave God their hands, their feet, and their mouth, including you guys. If you didn't believe in it. Bill Gates, that's a big one for you to think about, isn't it? Because you're not sure about God even exists. But guess what? You just met your match. God's going to prove to you He exists. He's in your head. And probably most of the reason of most of what you know come from God. Just like Albert Einstein, you're not that smart. If you challenge God over 15 years ago when you made a statement, and God made sure I heard this statement. Otherwise, how did I hear it about 15? It's probably more like 20 years ago, maybe even 25. But God saying 15 years ago, you said nobody needs to live past 50 years old. Well, you just struck a nerve with God when you said that. You're making an opinion about how, like God, like you is the creator of this world. That was a challenge to God. God cares more about the unborn in people. I would say God's correcting me on that. God's trying to tell me He cares about everybody equally. For me, but God also cares about the unborn. I'm sorry my phone fell, but I didn't stop the taping, and that's important. The unborn make up 1 billion times, trillion times more than what's dead and what's alive today. And we just can't have an abortion, or we don't have children, or we kill each other in wars, kill each other in stealing and murder. Oh, we're tough guys. You're tough guys. I'm a tough guy. I used to be a martial artist in Kempo. And Kempo is not a martial art. It's just a willingness to break bones and dislocate, to stop a fight. We don't have a fight. In Kempo, there's going to be a first strike. Either you're going to make it or I'm going to make it. But it's going to be a first strike, but no second strike. We are supposed to decommission you, not to allow a second strike. When you try to hit us first, and you do this first, even if you hit us first, we're taking you out before the second strike. Okay, you see what I'm saying? I'm too old to be a martial artist now, but I still know a few tricks. But the point of the matter is, I'm getting off the point because I'm autistic. You guys have to go to the thing with $4 billion a piece, and go buy the Burundian franc and go buy that, and you multiply your at $4 billion already. You're going to see it's multiplied, and those people then you're going to get the reward. Say, look what Jeff Bezos did for thing. Your sales will go up tremendously all over the world because you just delivered 2 of the poorest countries in the world. The same goes for you, Satoshi. Instead of watching your Bitcoin compete with the God's coin, which you know it's gonna, the bottom's gonna fall out. You're gonna go to it's gonna be worthless within days. You're just gonna watch, shoom, free fall. So will every currency in the world, unless I did this way. These currencies will still be worth whatever I put down there. Right now, when you have currencies like Burundi that are at 0.00035, well, guess what? It's now going to 0.0050. What 50,000? It's going to cost Americans $50,000. The Americans are going to money is going to put those 3 zeros plus maybe another 0 because this is 50,000, and then a 5. So it'd be 4 zeros in front of the dollar. That's how much to buy a God's coin. So it'd be $50,000. So instead of the Burundian dollar being 0.00035 behind, now it's going to be worth $1, and one in the United States dollar is going to be worth 4 zeros in front of a 5. And you look at everybody's currency compared to the Burundian franc, and that's what rounded off, like I rounded off to 35 to 50, which I'm a nice guy. But the Sierra Leone was the best I can do, was to be 100,000. It's going to be 100,000, 2 God's coins for one. 2 God for 1 Leon. 1 Leon is going to be with 1 God's coin. Wow. Now, if you Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates, or Satoshi, or Donald Trump just bought a Leon, and 1 God's coin is worth a God's coin, and you guys got 99,000 times your wealth, you're going up to the trillions. You can buy a country. You definitely could buy the United States with $34 trillion in debt, but you could buy it easily. The thing, you guys are businessmen, so you understand what I'm saying. But you're up against God. You can either do this or don't do it, and I'll put you on the other side and point the finger at you, this finger, and I say, hey, they didn't want to buy into this. They don't believe in it. We'll see. Because this phone does the banking, and the banks, I don't have to have a treasury. It keeps track of everything. It's also doing all the identifying you need. This is an Android phone. I'm talking to you on my Apple 13. But you know what I'm saying? It's like the phone is going to be used for banking, and I'm giving to everybody that's 18 years old and older. Now, what else does the phone do? Every 18-year-old or older is a voter. Whoo, that's a big one. Come on, guys, think about it. They're a voter. Oh, they can vote. The first vote they're going to make is that they can vote by phone at home. Not just when they have voting, but 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Why? Because the next vote after that is for all governments, every government. They'll open their doors to being televised. Televised. Reality TV. Reality TV. We can see what's happening in America. We'll see what's going on in the Congress. We'll see what's going on in the Senate. We'll see what's going on in the committees. And we'll be able to vote on it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay? So we're voting. And we can see everything. We're also voting to destroy all data. I don't care if it's criminal data. We'll keep only the medical data. That's the only thing we need. IRS, no more cards. No more Social Security. Don't need Social Security because why would you have Social Security? Everybody's getting money through GGDScoin. We don't need to know where you live. You're going to change where you live everywhere you go. You're going to change phone numbers. Everybody can change their phone number anytime. No keeping track by phone or by where you live. You have the money to go anywhere you are. Furthermore, the data transferring, just like Bill Gates, you just went through so much trouble to help develop blockchain currency, encryption. You waste your time with all the algorithm over the algorithm and hiding, so that the banks don't even know who they're dealing with. Nobody knows who you're dealing with. You could be the most criminal element in the world, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the Rothschilds. Yeah, all you sadistic people in the world, if you're involved in that. I think, Bill Gates, you know a little bit about it. I'm not pointing fingers. I am pointing the finger at you, but the point of the matter is you made a statement 15 years ago. Still bothers me about that. Nobody needs to live past 50. And you said it. You go look in your own video archives. And if you wanted to sue me. It doesn't make no difference. Because you'll find out I never keep no money anyway. You know why? Because I disperse your money as fast as I get it. Goes right back into the hands. Because I divided it already into all those accounts, whether they opened them or not. And I'm waiting for those people to just come get their money. So I opened up 15 million Burundian accounts, and the people immediately got their money, their share of the 15 million. Every family member, divided between every family member, comes and gets it in GGDScoin. They get one GGDScoin for opening the account. But in the Burundi, it's going to be different. You know, they might be 10 GGDScoins. The people that I know and really help me get this thing off the ground, I give them 100 GGDScoins. I can do what I want. In fact, I'll give to anybody 100 GGDScoins to make sure you get this message and react, because as soon as you react, then I automatically know who got them to sponsor you, to get you to listen. And when they did, they will automatically, them and their family will get 100 GGDScoins to split between themselves. So that's kind of a reward to get the message to you if you don't want to listen. And I'm only the impatient man. I mean, I'm like, wait 1 week. I got give you 4 days after you see this video, after I put this thing on the thing. I'm not giving you weeks and months and years to look at this video. I'm giving you days, 4 days. When this thing hits the airwaves, 4 days to respond. All of you. 4 days, you guys better respond. Or I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to get everybody in this world to open a GGDScoin account, and then when I do, it'll be vice versa. At the meantime, I'll point the finger at you, Jeff Bezos. I'll put the finger at all of you and say you didn't want no part of this. You didn't react. You didn't believe. As fast, way on faster than you guys took to make it, you're just going to lose it. Because I have a commodity that rests to reach the whole world. I'll have the whole world behind me. Power. Furthermore, this phone, what did I tell you so far? I told you so far it's for banking. Then I said next is for voting. The next is the kicker. Everybody that's 18 years old, like I said, was a voter, to 40 years old, will be in the military, whether disabled, handicapped, whatever the case, even if they're an ex-criminal, as long as they're not in jail. They will be able to, they'll be in the military. They'll just be enlisted in the military. They're enlisted in the military. And they'll be told to report to training as a family, told to go to training somewhere. Come to a training center. At that training center, they'll learn to shoot an AR-15 or a 747. AK-47. Wow. A machine gun? First gun that they're going to handle? God's people will be taught to shoot for the hands and the feet, not the head and the chest. God's people will be taught to shoot for the hands and feet so everybody has a chance to live on and have children. God's people will be issued real ammunition and rubber bullets, tasers, radios, a gun belt, and ammunition. Real ammunition, rubber ammunition, like I said. They will be penalized by God's coins if they don't practice and use their on weekends, on their days off, after work, whatever. They have to go practice shooting those rounds. And they'll be reissued more. They'll always have some in reserve because any family that certifies, whichever was certified first served, they all certify at the same time. They'll be given a gun safe to keep in the home, a family gun safe. The gun safe will keep it away from being dangerous in the household, but they'll be in there. What happened in Palestine will never happen again in any other country. Terrorists won't come to an empty house. They'll come to an arsenal of people that know how to use the weapons. The next thing that everybody in the military, God's military, is going to learn how to do is be an EMT. They better keep the person alive. They better be able to save that person's life, and they will be certified EMTs before they ever get issued a weapon. They'll be making sure that they can keep somebody alive that they shoot. Before they ever issue or certified a weapon, issued a weapon or a gun safe, they will be certified medical technicians. And they're trained to aid the police, aid the National Guard, aid the regular military if they have to. Every country will still have its regular military that will go out and kill and shoot for the head and the heart. Shoot to kill. Hopefully they'll never be needed if God's military does its job. If God's military does its job, regular military may never be needed. It'd be like in Switzerland. Everybody's going to be going to these jobs in the private sector to learn as military, and they'll be, the militaries, the people will be military, but they will be being paid God's coin to man the hospitals, man the daycare centers, man any job from putting up solar to that. So it's all going to be free. Education is going to be free. Hospitalization will be free. Solar is going to be free. Every job there is going to be free because the manpower using is the military training. All schools, public schools or whatever, they will be run by students that are in the military. So they're free. The teachers will be the best of the best chosen from the private sectors. They won't be in military uniforms. If you're in the hospital, you'll be wearing scrubs. If you're at McDonald's, you'll be wearing a McDonald's shirt. You know? It's the same thing. Everybody's going to wear the apparel and not appear as military, but they're going to be in the military because that's where they're going to get paid. They're paid to come and do once a month to be trained, and then they'll also be on the weekends contests where they can earn God's coin and to compete. Not only will they be training with the guns and as the EMT, but martial arts. Remember, I told you I'm a martial artist. Kempo is a bad martial art. Chuck Norris wouldn't even fight a person who knows Kempo with the black karate gi. It's Chinese martial art. But it really means the willingness to break a bone, dislocate, and put a person out of commission on the first punch. There's no fighting with Kempo. We don't fight. We end the fights, okay? That's what Kempo's all about, to stop the fight. We go in there to intentionally fight. It's a willingness to stop the fight. We don't play around. We're not there for show. We're not there to taekwondo or even kung fu. We're not there to fight. We're there to end the fight. And that's the kind of style that of karate, or it's not called karate because Kempo has always been a Chinese style. They don't use a Japanese word for a Chinese style. It's a martial art. It's an insult to call for a Chinese, to call his thing a dojo, or use a karate gi, or whatever. It's an insult. Because the two countries are way unlike. The Japanese and the Chinese never will be the same. There's a whole thing about that, okay? So I'm not going to get into it, but the idea is the people will learn Kempo. They'll learn. They'll have AK-47s or AR-15s in their home with ammunition, and there'll be the aids in case somebody and be on call to the police, to the military, National Guard, or even the regular military to be on call. And also to answer the ambulance calls. They're all certified emergency. Somebody's in your hood having a heart attack. Go, your closest one. Go see, check on them. You hear your own call. If you can go. You'll be called to go. Or if somebody tries to attack your own home, you call them. You call the police and tell them what you're doing. Hey, what do they call it when somebody comes? They need backup. I got people attacking my home. I'm going to do what I have to do. But you're not going to leave them dead. You're going to leave them holding their foot, holding their hand, bleeding. No sense in turning loose an automatic just to shoot a hand and foot. You can, but you better worry about where those other bullets are going to. You better be up against a wall or something when you do it. Because if one of your those extra bullets as you're shooting hit somebody else, guess what? You got another problem. Responsibility and accountability comes with that, and not accountability for one person killing another. Not eye for an eye, not tooth for a tooth. When you killed that one person and you hurt that killed that one person, you killed unnumberable unborn. Just like these kids at this center right here, they're considered like the unborn, the unwanted, uncounted. They don't fit into society. Most of them are orphans. Their parents abandoned them. It's tragic because these are like the unborn. They're treated as unborn. Why? If it wasn't for God, they would be alone. But God lives in them. Thank God that God lives in the unborn and lives in them. Somebody's playing with them and having fun with them, even though they're unborn. Somebody's always talking to them. You think God's always talking to us. Most of what we know comes from us. It could also come from your family. My God, you got DNA, don't you? Any living thing has DNA. Where do you think your family's at? Your family's in their DNA. You're not dead. Look at your own children. Jeff Bezos, Satoshi, Donald Trump, Bill Gates. Look into your children's eyes. You're living in them and they're living in you. You're immortal already. When you die, you haven't died because you're still living in them. You're living in anybody in your bloodline. Everybody in anybody's bloodline, and they're living in you. Nobody really dies. And do you know if God pointed a gun, or somebody pointed a gun at your head, God can leave you before that bullet ever strikes you. He could, if he wanted to. And you would end up with your relatives and your family, deceased. That's where you'd wake up just as happy. You would never know what, you'd never feel it. You would never know it. Boom. 1 second, 1 split second, you're in front of a gun, and next thing you know, boom, you're right there with your family. You don't see what happens to you. Witnesses will see a mess. They're going to see a mess. On other times, when somebody's used to pointing a gun and shooting it at somebody else's head, I think God will make that slow motion. You're not only going to see that bullet coming, you're going to feel every split second. It's going to seem like an hour away. Boom, 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 tearing into your brain, tearing through you. And you're going to think you'll want to die, but you can't die yet. That's what I think will happen. God can do anything. And I think that's what, because like when I pull a lever on a crane, I can pull it wide open or I can barely touch it to make that movement. Anyway, you guys got the general idea of this message. I'm asking you about all right away in the next 4 days to make the investment, $4 billion. Go get the Sierra Leone. Go get the Burundi and Frank. We'll see, guys, how you react in the next 4 days after I downloaded this video. And then you guys will have it to make another decision. When you see it work and you see the difference, know that I'm going to the next country is the Congo next with 106 million people. And I'm going to the Sudan, and I'm going to Central Africa with 5 billion. And Sudan with 45 million. And I'm going to the poorest countries in the world first. And as the world sees these countries going from rags to riches, guess what? It's not going to be hard. Like these synapses in the brain, boom, 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 boom. God's going to spread to this whole world within days, not weeks, not months, not years, within days. Now, you're either going to help make that start, or it's going to be the end of you. That's basically it. Is this blackmail? No, it's not blackmail. It's a promise. And I'm telling you right up, I didn't come to take your money. Last thing God wants to do is bankrupt you. Last thing God wants to do is to turn you into an example. But Jeff Bezos, you're on top of the world right now because of your name, Amazon. Amazon's a word. You're just a name behind a word. God can take Amazon away from you in a heartbeat. The people can. Remember that votes for the government? Governments is all unlimited on probation. They get a very limited time before it's out of their hands. They can't fight. Remember this, Donald Trump? You taught us how to fight wars. You don't fight wars. You take away the money that makes the wars possible. You take away they don't have the bullets, they don't have the food. The army can't run on an empty stomach. When you taught people as presidents how to fight a war by taking away the money, you became the best president and the most powerful president in the world, even President Xi Jinping, or whatever, Xing or whatever he says, Xi Jinping is. You just put the word of God into him by saying, yeah, by my word, just by my word, I'll take away your money. We just outlaw your money in our country. We outlaw your money One of the, what he calls a war, is the money. They did that with the Confederate money during the Civil War. They made it worthless. Any country's money become worthless in war. That's including you guys' money. Whichever you want to turn it into, unless it's in God's coin, you guys better look out. Bitcoin, Satoshi. Does Bitcoin want to compete with God's coin? God's coin is not even a physical Bitcoin, a digital coin. It's not going to be digital. You got to go get it. And it's not even given to you then. It's given to you in the currency. It's just kept a way of keeping up with the banks. I'll know exactly how many people in this world by how many accounts are open, because there's not going to be anybody in this world that won't have an account open, because they're going to watch the whole world become rich. If they want to sit there and try to pull their theology out, or their beliefs, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter what religion you are. We're going to find out there is only but one God. Only one God changed the languages of everybody in this world at once. Only one God parted the Red Sea. Only one God created Noah's flood. You guys are going to see the parting of the Red Sea. You guys are going to see Noah's flood. You guys are going to see what happened, the changing of tongues. The same way, you guys, you're not going to see that event, but you're seeing something just equal size to that. When the whole world turns their hands and feet and mouths over to God. And God's got a lot more to give everybody. But it's also Bill Gates. Think about it. You're going to give your fortune over this at $4 billion. But if you get caught up in something, you start going plundering around or make statements like he is, you can lose it all or part of it in a heartbeat. It's part of war. Remember? Just like the Confederate money was. Your money, your God's coin, could be taken away from you if you start meddling in God's affairs ever again. You best behave. I think Donald Trump, you have no problem with that. In 20 more years, Donald Trump, I don't think you'll be around. You're older than I am. Satoshi, you're almost my same age. In 20 years, I'll be 72 next month. So what it's going to be is that I think you're even a little bit older than I am. But what I'm saying is, Satoshi, you'll probably be gone or close to being gone. 20 years won't make a bit of difference, and your children are doing fine. Donald Trump, your children will be fine. And you didn't lose your fortune. You shared your fortune with this world. The rewards of that are very high. The rewards of that are very high. Jeff Bezos, you're still young, comparatively young. You'll live through it, but Amazon will be like a billion times bigger than it is now, if you understand what I'm saying, or you won't have a business at all. I can crush you faster than I could crush anybody else, just by endorsing you. That's all it takes in my endorsement. I'm a representative of God, and nobody comes between me and God. I'm alone. There's nobody between me and God. I don't have any pastors, preachers, anybody I go to. Do they even qualify to come between me and God? God's directly talking to me ever since he started talking to me on June 9th, the year 2021. He hasn't stopped talking to me. He's told me everything about everything, and I had to go to sleep to get some rest. I had to go into REM sleep to get rest. And God's talking to you guys the same way, but you guys have blocked him out. And you're still looking for him. You still go to church to look for him. You don't go to churches to find God or listen to God or find Him. You bring God to churches. You should be worshiping God and not talking about God and not trying to make up His mind. God does not want to micromanage anybody. He doesn't want to tell you what to do. He loves spontaneity. He loves adventure. Because He's God. He has to live forever. My God, if you had to live forever, you wouldn't want to have to micromanage anybody either. You don't want to micromanage nobody. You just want people to have the adventure. Love life as it happens. Fix the problem as it goes. Learn from your mistakes. That's what God's all about. Because God has to live forever. Thank God you're living through your children. God wants to live through His children too, but the most of His children are unborn. The majority of His children are unborn, and He watched that number diminish every split second of this world today, ever since 5,000 years, and now He's come to say, no, stop. This is God, it's a stop. It's insanity. To do the same thing over and over and over. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm going to leave this off to you. I said enough. God said I said enough. I'm leaving it off right now. I'm over an hour talking to you. Goodbye.